Hello, everyone. This is Kyla from Hidden Gems Literary Emporium, live from our office right now because we're repainting. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys again on Monday. And here we have Miss Carolyn Nield, the author of Whimsical Thoughts, a book of whimsical thoughts and poetry. Thank you for joining us all the way from what state are you in?
Arizona, Goodyear, Arizona.
Arizona. Okay. Um, Thank you for joining us. And before we started recording, I was about to ask you this question that I'm going to ask now. Because you said, "Oh, you like the poetry," and I said yes, and it is very whimsical, and it does seem like your whimsical thoughts put down on paper for all of us to enjoy. So, how did you? Well, first of all, just introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us about how, when, why you wrote this book, and how you came up with the title.
Okay. Let's see. This book was 20 years in the making, I'll be honest. And I've been writing poems since I was in 6th grade, and I've been writing since I was in 3rd grade. So what I've discovered that I enjoy the writing, and as well as I enjoy reading. And the title, it just seemed to flow with it, because I thought, okay, thoughts was definitely a part of the title, but then I was like, it's all over the board and it's not a set subject, so therefore whimsical would be right. It'd be the right fit. First, for my first title, I thought Flight to Fantasy, and I was like, no, that does not work, it does not flow. And then Whimsical Thoughts pop up, and I'm like, yes, that flows. So
I
that
agree. And I like how you go from one topic to another, and it's just kind of, okay, so it starts with an angel's prayer, then it goes to asthma attacks, broken fabric, babies, 7th month, bees, building bridges. So it kind of it allows the reader to go on a journey of
journey.
sorts, but you don't know where you're going. And you don't have a map. Well, you have the table of contents, but you don't know where you're going. It's like you feel surprised. At least that's how I felt when I read the book. I was surprised when
Thank
I
you.
the page. I'm like, okay, bees. Then you go to something else. I'm like, huh. So when you turn the page, it's just like a pleasant little surprise that the topic is changing. So I really appreciated that.
Oh, thank you. I try to like interspace it with a serious poem, lighthearted, serious poems, lighthearted, or a couple serious poems together, and then a lighthearted poem. I just wanted to like get my thoughts out there, and if it's a serious subject, I wanted to broach it and make it available to all public. Like, hello, it's here. It's in society. It's not going to go away.
That's right. And I love that in the more serious poems, I got that feels that you just said. Like, look, let's address the elephant in the room. We all know that these
Mhm.
things are happening and that we experience them, and we need to just talk about it. And
Yeah.
I really, really like that.
So do I. I don't hide. I don't beat around the bush about certain subjects. And one of the subjects that's near and dear to my heart is suicide.
Mm,
My brother committed suicide back in 2004, I think it was, or
mm,
2003. So it's a near and dear heart. I got 2 poems in there about suicide.
mm-hmm,
One's entitled Suicide, I believe, and the other one is Angel's Prayer.
mm-hmm. And
And
I mentioned, I noticed that too. And I thought, speaking about those poems specifically, I thought it was very interesting and important for you to you I'm paraphrasing when I say this, but you were basically saying think about how this decision will affect the people in your life. And
yeah,
I appreciate that you put that out there so that if there is anyone who is reading this that is having suicidal thoughts, you never know how the words that were placed in your heart can affect or even maybe save someone's life. They might read that poem and say, you know what, she's right, I'm gonna go, get help.
Yes, that's why I put it out there, is because people who are in that position, they don't think ahead
Mm,
to what the consequences are down further down the road, and how it tears a family apart, or
right.
it can bring a family together. It hurt my family, and it tore my mom into a million shreds, and I
Mm,
see it right now where she's playing the blaming game, and I really love her to pieces. I wish she'd reach out more
mm,
instead of me to be the one reaching out,
right,
because
right.
I mean, I'm so busy that it's hard to get a hold of me from time to time in my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
But I would, if she left a voicemail, I would like stop and I'd listen, because I check my voicemails every day,
Mm.
religiously, twice a day,
Oh.
once at my lunch hour, and then once when I get off from work. And when I'm home during the day, I have my phone near me in case it rings. I can pick it up and say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got a stepmother that I'm near and dear to, and she's like a mother to me as well. And when my dad passed away last year, I've been like really close to her.
Wow.
So she's also near and dear to my heart. And I worry about her constantly, being living in the trailer that she and my dad shared for a number of years.
Wow.
So it's like, oh man, this is heartbreaking.
You have a few poems about family members. Um,
Hmm.
and my I just flipped to the table of contents and my eye just glanced to the poem uh People Helping People, and that's one of the ones that I starred in my version. And thought that was very important.
It
And
is. It is. We all need to stop and give each other a hand up,
that's
not a
right.
hand down, a hand up.
Hmm. Talk about the difference between that. Hand down.
Okay, hand down is usually you're just handing it out just because it's been used, and it's like you've been through it, you're handing it down to
Mm-hmm.
someone. But a hand up is like, here is some resources, here is something that you can reach out and go to, and here's something that you can reach towards, like giving them like a couple job leads, or a couple
Right.
or a couple names of some psychiatrists,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, or here's the places to get free food. Those are the hand ups in
Mm-hmm.
life, where you can have the person um, become self-sufficient eventually.
Right.
If you're doing too many hand downs, a person won't become self-sufficient.
Hmm.
And so what I like to do is just like do the hand ups
Mm-hmm.
in life.
Right.
I've done a few of those, and then
I
there's
like
been thank you. It's I think it's one of the things that my mom and dad tried to instill in me,
that. Hmm.
and yeah, I took it and ran with it. They also tried to instill in me, besides compassion, the love of learning, and they also taught me to be spiritual as well. And by the meaning of spiritual, it doesn't mean exactly you can take it to be religious, or you can take it to being um, in tune with your spiritual self.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end all tale all is that you have to be true to yourself and true to your beliefs
Right.
that you believe personally. If you're not, you're going to find yourself in a rut where you're not going to grow.
Hmm. I think there are a lot of people
And I'm
today who are
hoping
in
that my
that rut.
hmm and I'm hoping that my book spurs some people to be able to go, aha, have an aha moment and say, I need to work on this, or aha, this is what I've been dealing with all my life. And it's time to deal with the elephant that's in the room, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because I've seen so many elephants that people sweep underneath the rug. And by the time they deal with it, it becomes a tsunami, and it
Mm-mm-mm.
crashes through their life.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
So it's better to deal with that elephant while it's small before it gets to be huge.
Right. Before it's 3,000 tons.
Exactly. Before it becomes the weight of a dinosaur
Right, right.
and crushing you. So
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of the reason why I wrote the book too, is so that way I can address these issues and bring it up and out. If I've had to deal with some of these issues, why can't, or my children have had these issues, why can't I just like open the eyes of society and let them know that there are more people out there like that? There are more people that need these help, need assistance in this area, because it's going to affect them later down in life, and sometimes it'll destroy their
Mm.
trust in humanity, and you don't want to break that trust, because who's going to help you in the end?
Mm-hmm.
You know, yourself, yes, and maybe another person along the way that you find as a compatible companion. You need to trust that person in order to help them help you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have animal companions, they're great too. They're non-judgmental, and they will help you feel better too. But you have to have trust in yourself in order to have a companion. Because if you can't trust yourself, you're not going to get very far.
Question, right? As
Mhm.
we're as you're saying these things, I went to the poem. When did I go? What did you say when I went to this poem? Uh, you were talking about. Oh, you were talking about how you hope people can read this book and kind of self-evaluate in a way. And so, and this was a poem that I started my version too, the one called "Do I Listen?" Can you talk a little bit about that poem?
Boy, listen, oh man, that was that in itself. I had a lot of people tell, this is about my ex basically that I had, and a lot of people tell me that he was a bad person and that I shouldn't trust him and all that. I I was blindly in love with him, and I didn't listen to anybody, and I went for it. I went for the relationship, and looking back on it, it's like, did I really listen to anybody? No, I didn't. And it hurt me in the end. Sometimes you have to listen to those around you that care about you, that love you. They know you better than you know yourself sometimes. And they will tell you, hey, this person is not right for you, or this job isn't going to be right for you. Why are you doing this? You know, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to hurt yourself in the long run. And that's why I wrote that poem. It's to open it up to like have the reader look around them and self-reflect as well, that am I truly listening to my friends that care about me, my mother that cares about me, my dad that cares about me, or am I just like doing my own thing and just like not putting my head in the sand and just carrying on and getting hurt in the process? Because there have been instances where I did take on a few jobs that weren't me, and in the end it hurt in the long run because I was burnt out in less than 3 minutes.
I think we've all been there. A
Yep.
lot of us have been there. Yeah. And you're right. And when I was reading that poem, a lot of your poetry, it really does make you self-reflect, and you think about times in your life where, you know, people have told you one thing and maybe you were
Mhm.
stubborn, or maybe you were like, nope, I'm doing it, and then uh you know, in the end you learn and you
Yeah,
grow.
you learn, and you have hindsight,
Right.
and they say about hindsight, it's always 2020,
And that's the
and you're
truth.
going into the situation like 2040.
Right. Okay, let's talk about animals.
Oh, right, my near and dear subject to my heart.
Yes. um I love all of your poems about animals, about cats and dogs, kittens, butterflies, birds, bees. And I thought they were so whimsical and cute. And can I read one?
Go ahead. Feel free to.
Okay, I'm going to read, and I told you this story, but people who are going to be watching this video do not know this. But some of you probably do know that we did a literacy night in Plainfield, New Jersey, maybe 3 weekends ago now. And so we ran a poetry exercise, and it just so happens that this book came in right on time, and I had it in my book bag, and I was reading it. And so it was a part of our exercise. I um offered. I said, does anybody want to come and read a poem? And I had, there was one volunteer, 12-year-old young man. He read it so eloquently. And this might be one of my favorite poems in the book. It's called Butterflies. So here we go. Butterflies, dancing, twirling, and floating in the air, its dainty wings flittering back and forth. The colors of the wings are bright and vivid, like colors of a freshly painted watercolor painting. Its wings are thin as parchment paper, yet they are strong enough to fly high in the sky. They are nature's little miracles that change from a skinny, unsightly worm to a beautiful creature, so delicate, so fragile, yet has majesty and a royal bearing. The delicate beauty inspires many to dream thoughts of happiness and joy. Butterflies are nature's smallest little joys that nature can provide. They are constant reminders that even the tiniest critters can give great pleasure to all. I thought that poem was so beautiful and cute.
Thank you. And you read it so well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, so I read that poem and I started and I probably highlighted the whole thing, knowing me. But I'll have to send you a picture of my copy of this book. It's, you'll be like, wow. Um, but I just love it because my husband and I, we love animals, we love nature. Our son, he'll be 2 in March, loves butterflies and
Aw.
loves to point them out. And what you said in the poem is so true. Butterflies, their wings are like parchment paper, but they fly so high in the sky.
Yes, very thin.
They're so majestic and wonderful. They bring you
Yes.
so much joy and peace when you see them. And I think maybe we just underappreciate butterflies a
The
little.
little one. Yeah, we do. The little things that bring joy when we see them. Because butterflies are in, people don't think how butterflies go flitter from flower to flower and help pollinate the little on them. Just busy pollinate. Also, they bring great beauty to the scenery by the vivid, bright colors. I've seen some monarch butterflies, I've seen some other type of butterflies, and they're, you know, every butterfly is different from another, and it's just like a fingerprint. They're so different.
We actually have a book about butterflies, and it has all of these beautiful illustrations and shows you the differences in different species between males and females. And
Mm-hmm.
we use it as references when we're drawing and painting and things like that. And it's just so miraculous. And when you see butterflies, and you also talk about bees, remind me to bring up the poem about bees because my husband and I were having a conversation about your thought process with that poem. But last thing
Wow.
to say about butterflies, they look like they're hand painted. Like,
Yes, they do.
it looks like every single one was hand painted with a paintbrush. And we should just think about that. Even us as people, we are also hand painted. We have little marks and
Mhm.
little
Little
things.
differences. Some have beauty marks, some don't. Some people have long eyelashes, some people have short eyelashes, some people have thin lips, some people have big luxurious lips, and some people have a hawk nose, some people have a straight nose. I mean, people are there are different flavors of the way the human body is made, and a lot of people don't appreciate that, you know.
Absolutely.
as somebody who studied art for a little bit, just through pictures and illustrations, I grew up appreciating the differences. I don't know whether any I don't knock the education that I've had in the past, because I've had such a broad education that it's like I feel like I've got a little too much of a broad education, because I don't have specifics that I just drill into. But overall, I think I got a good understanding. One of these days, I'm going to write poems about certain religions. Maybe I'll do that. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, just research some research religions, and just bring up the beauty of each religion. You know, that might be interesting. That's a
And
thought that I can do. I'll file that away in my thought cabinet.
right, I was gonna say store that, hit file save on that one, because that would
Exactly.
also require some, like you said, some research, some historical
Mm-hmm.
context, and I think people would find it
Ben.
interesting that that information was presented in a poetic nature.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Okay. Um. Okay. Last question, maybe because, well, okay. The next question is about the poem Bees. So I'm going to read the poem so everyone knows what we're talking about, and then I'm going to ask you this question that my husband and I were going back and forth about. Not arguing, just trying to decide what was in your mind when you wrote the book. I mean, the poem. Okay. So,
When I wrote the poem.
yeah. Okay. So this poem is called Bees. It's on page 6 of the book. Okay. Always moving, never stopping to enjoy a moment's pause. Going from place to place, visiting each stop only once per day. There's not enough time to smile at the beauty that surrounds them. There are flowers to be pollinated, families to feed, and to build a strong home, filling it with a sweet treat. Bees are busy with their lives and jobs, fluttering place to place just to sample every flower's sweet nectar, twitching their stingers at the unlucky person or animal who disturbs their busy hive, as they make sweet, sticky treats that carpet the inside of their dwellings and a special coat to cover their much earned treasure. Buzzing quickly from flower to flower, taking turn with their fellow workers to make sure that their world is ever flowing. That sounds like bees.
Yes.
Here's my question.
All right. What is it?
Is this about bees or is this about worker bees, meaning people, or both?
Both, actually, because I see a correlation between people and bees altogether. Because when we get so busy, we get caught up in the details of our busy lives that we don't even see what's around us. It's like stop and smell the roses.
That's right.
Patient there. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to enjoy your life. You're going to be going to and from your job, or to and from dealing with your details of your life, that you're not going to see the true beauty that lies around you. You're going to forget about that. You're going to forget about the big picture. You're just too detail oriented that you drill through it, straight through it. And this is the bees' problem too, that they don't stop and go, oh my gosh, that flower is just simply gorgeous. I didn't even realize that.
Mm-hmm.
The bees just go about their business and just don't stop. They
Right.
just, how shall I say this? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
That's funny. Yeah. And as we're reading it, yes, that's what we're saying. She's probably talking about both, worker bee.
Mm-hmm.
And, they refer to people as worker bees also, or worker
Mm-hmm.
ants, or, something similar like that. And you miss so much beauty, especially in nature. Like if you just
Yeah.
go outside and don't bring your phone and just sit there and listen
Exactly.
and watch, and you'll see, birds. A bird might hop along, and it's the sweetest, most beautiful thing in the world. Or, a butterfly might come to say hi, and it feels like they're saying hi, like, oh wow, this human is taking time out of their day to just sit and give me some attention.
Appreciate. Yeah, because I went down to Florida in October, and I actually turned off my phone for a little while, and I got to see some beautiful, beautiful trees, and I got to see some beautiful swans, and I, it was so wonderful. The only time I took out my phone was to take pictures of the beauty around me, and I even got a picture of a squirrel, believe it or not. We don't see very many squirrels here in Arizona, so I was like, okay, I got to take a picture of a squirrel. Got
You know
to,
what's
because it
funny
reminds
about
me of my childhood.
Wow. And it's funny that you mentioned squirrels because the other day, a squirrel, well, okay, let's back up. Raymond's grandfather, we have a picture of Raymond's grandfather with a squirrel on his head. Now, those of you who know squirrels know that squirrels do not just get close. They're very fidgety and you have to
Yes,
wait.
they are.
And so we have that picture. So now last week, I have a video. I have two videos that I need to post on the Hidden Gems page. We're just writing poems for them so that it'll all make sense. One of them, we're driving through town and a group of literally 7 deer are hanging out on someone's lawn. So of course,
Oh, cool.
yes, knowing us and our last name, Sikes, means deer, like Sika deer. And so we
Oh,
pull
wow,
over
that's so cool.
and we're looking in the back for food. I'm like, cookies, get the cookies. So Ray takes the cookies and we're feeding the deer and stuff like that. And my son is just getting a kick out of all this. They came so close to eating it out of his hand. And then the animal control people came and they jetted. I'm like, ah. Until the next time, about a week ago, we're outside, we're getting in the car about to come here, and a squirrel comes up to my husband and is my husband reaches down and the squirrel is letting my husband pet the squirrel. It was crazy. And then so
Oh,
give him some of our burrito. I think we had a burrito or a quesadilla in the car. So now he's feeding the squirrel and the squirrel is literally eating out of my husband's hand.
oh, how cute.
So
That's
then
so
when those
adorable.
things happen to us, we just take it as, a sign from the Most High. Like, look, you're on the right
Yeah,
path, you're doing the right things. And
exactly.
the animals, they are vouching for you,
Hmm.
you know?
See, when I was growing up in Tennessee, the 5 years I lived there, 5 or 6 years, I had a natural alarm clock. Who needs an alarm clock when you got squirrels that live above your head going choo, 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 chick, 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 choo,
Really?
choo, choo, choo. Literally, you can hear them stomping on on the ceiling, and you can hear them churring. So it's like, oh, okay, family of squirrels woke me up this morning at what, 5 o'clock? Okay, I'm ready to start my day.
Wow. Isn't that
I
funny?
I never had an alarm clock during those 5 years because of those squirrels.
Wow.
So
That's deep.
I'm quite happy and pleased to say that the squirrels woke me up.
That's super deep. That means they
Yeah.
had because I've never had that experience. I've never heard a squirrel make that noise, especially like clockwork at the same time every day. And it's like,
They did. And it's quite funny and amusing when you look back on it, because you see the beauty of it with the squirrels actually. It felt like they were talking to me.
mm-hmm,
And I was always an animal lover growing up, and I always asked my dad for the strangest animals to bring home, and he'd say no. Looking back on it, I should have taken that journey to the correct path that it should have led to, like a veterinarian, because that would have been a terrific career path for me. Because
mm-hmm,
I love animals so much that when I see them hurt, it kills me inside.
mm,
Like, yeah, that would have been a great career path for me
wow.
looking back on it. But writing seems to be my passion.
Yes.
along with animals.
Right. Well, I think you did a great job at combining animals and writing and the things that you care about and love and the people that you care about and love into this book, Whimsical Thoughts. And I want to encourage everyone to come by Hidden Gems Literary Emporium and pick up your copy of Whimsical Thoughts. Let's say someone is reading the book and wants to ask you a question. Can they do that? And how do they do that?
Okay, if they ever want to ask me a question, they could drop me a question at my email address, fristren@gmail.com, and I would gladly answer it. I don't have any qualms about it. I've been checking my email every day because there's always something new and pleasant on my email. And I also have a writer's page on Facebook called Writer's Thoughts, WRITER''S Thoughts. And it has a unicorn in the background. So yes, I'm very into unicorns. So that is my page. You can drop questions in there too, because I always keep everybody updated on my book, and my book writing process. And I put a shout out to a couple things in on my book's journey. So one of the things I'm going to do is probably put a shout out to you guys and thank you for having this interview with me and carrying my book.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And thank you for just being your beautiful self. And you're so
Thank you.
grateful and you're so thoughtful, like literally.
Aw.
And, thank you for all you do. And I know you said you're working on another book. So we're looking forward to that. And we want to encourage everyone to come by Hidden Gems at 55B Morris Street, New Brunswick, New Jersey, to get your copy of Whimsical Thoughts, or you can call us at 609-361-4331 to have a copy shipped to your house. This video will be posted on our website, HiddenGemsLiteraryEmporium.com. So you'll be able to see it there. We're going to share it far and wide. And we want to thank you again, Miss Whimsical, for your thoughtful and just beautiful self and all of your hard work that you put into this poem,
Thank you.
this book of poetry, which you said was 20 years in the making.
Yep.
That's a lot of love.
So it's my first book and I'm quite proud of it.
That's right. And the cover is so beautiful also, by the way. I meant to talk about that.
Thank you. My favorite color is blue. So I thought blue would be something that would stand out. And
Yeah.
I've always liked the old fashioned quill and ink.
Mhm.
So that is near and dear to my heart as well. So that's why I asked them to do that cover art like that, because it's back in the old days, that's what they used to write with, was a quill pen and inkwell.
That's right. And we have one. Raymond and I, we each have one. And
Cool.
yes, and our son practices with it also.
I will admit I've tried my hand at calligraphy, and everybody seems to think that I've got a beautiful writing style. So I'm thinking about probably doing one of my covers and asking them if they could take a picture of my calligraphy hand, and we're possibly using that as a cover and put different kind of things in the background to help make it pop out.
I think that's a great idea. I think that some of these lines in your poems would be used as great cards.
Yes, they would. I would agree there, because I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, your book is so wonderful. My coworkers, when they found out that I published a book, they all started bum rushing and buying it.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
well, thank you again, Miss Carolyn. And I look forward to speaking with you again very soon. This has been a great part of my day.
this has been a pleasure too. I love it. Thank you. And thank you for reading my poem so eloquently. I loved it.
Oh,
You
you
got a
did?
beautiful
I'm
voice.
glad. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay. Talk to you very soon.
Okay. Talk to
Okay.
you soon. Bye.